Donald Trump's second term has been a masterclass in chaos, with his cabinet secretaries tripping over each other in a race to the bottom. But let's be clear, there's no contest. Pete Hegseth, the former Fox News talking head turned defense secretary, wears the crown of calamity. Unqualified, erratic, and fiercely loyal to Trump's fragile ego, Hegseth has turned the Pentagon into a circus of scandals, missteps, and dangerous decisions. This week, a leaked report from the Defense Department exposed the truth about us. Military strikes on Iran's nuclear program far from the complete and total obliteration Trump boasted about. The damage was minimal, setting Iran's ambitions back by mere months. Instead of addressing the failure, Hegseth did what any Trump lackey would. He fired the messenger Air Force Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz, a 34-year veteran who dared to tell the truth. This move didn't just highlight Hegseth's incompetence, it laid bare Trump's weakness, his obsession with image over reality, and his administration's dangerous dysfunction. Let's set the stage. In June 2024, Trump took to the airwaves, chest puffed out, proclaiming that U.S. airstrikes had obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. Total destruction, he crowed, painting himself as the tough guy savior of global security. It was vintage Trump, big talk, zero substance. But a preliminary Pentagon report, led by Lieutenant General Cruz, revealed the truth: those strikes barely dented Iran's program. Far from annihilation, Iran's nuclear ambitions were set back by just a few months. According to sources cited by the New York Times and CNN, this wasn't the decisive victory Trump sold to the American public. It was a half-baked operation, overhyped to stroke his ego. And when the truth leaked, Trump didn't just fume, he panicked. The man who claims to be the ultimate dealmaker couldn't handle a dose of reality, and his loyal foot soldier Hegseth sprang into action to cover it up. Hegseth's solution: fire Cruz, a decorated officer with decades of service, for the sin of doing his job. The Defense Department's vague statement about a loss of confidence in Cruz was laughably transparent, a flimsy excuse to appease Trump's bruised pride. Virginia Senator Mark Warner, vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, didn't mince words. This firing underscores the Trump administration's dangerous habit of treating intelligence as a loyalty test rather than a safeguard. For our country, Warner's right. This isn't about national security. It's about protecting Trump's fragile self-image. Hegseth's willingness to sack a career military officer to shield his boss from embarrassment is peak Trumpism. Loyalty over competence, lies over truth, and chaos over order. Hegseth's track record reads like a satire of what a defense secretary shouldn't be. A former Fox News host with no serious military or administrative experience. He was handpicked by Trump, not for his qualifications, but for his sycophantic devotion. Hegseth doesn't just follow Trump's orders, he anticipates them, acting preemptively to curry favor with a president who demands absolute fealty. This week's firing isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern. Hegseth has repeatedly shown he's more interested in playing Trump's hype man than running the Pentagon. His recent push to deploy National Guard troops in American cities like Los Angeles to defend ICE agents is a case in point. On Fox News, he doubled down, boasting about federalizing police, marshals, and park police to support law enforcement in a vague, open-ended mission that reeks of authoritarian overreach. No clear plan, no timeline, just blind loyalty to Trump's whims. Contrast this with his dodgy response to questions about the National Guard's deployment on January 6, 2021, when Senator Chris Murphy pressed him on whether he supported the decision to send troops to defend the Capitol during the insurrection. Hegseth squirmed. He claimed his own orders to guard Joe Biden's inauguration were revoked due to politicization by the previous administration, then pivoted to defending Trump's supposed request for National Guard troops, a request that was famously delayed and disputed. Murphy called him out, That speaks to the worry that many Americans have that there is a double standard. Hegseth's refusal to unequivocally support defending the Capitol against Trump's rioters, while eagerly deploying troops to protect Trump's agenda, exposes his hypocrisy. It's not about safety or democracy. It's not about safety or democracy once, no matter the cost. Hegseth's Pentagon debacle isn't the only scandal rocking Trump's administration this week. The Department of Justice, now a playground for Trump's cronies, is embroiled in a jaw-dropping controversy involving Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal defense attorney turned deputy attorney general, was caught in a 6-hour meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's convicted accomplice. The DOJ released audio and transcripts of these highly irregular meetings, claiming transparency, but the content is anything but transparent. Maxwell, serving time for her role in Epstein's sex trafficking ring, told Blanche that Trump was a perfect gentleman who never engaged in inappropriate behavior. She went further, claiming she never saw Epstein himself engage in anything non-consensual, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The absurdity of her statements calling a man linked to countless allegations of misconduct, a gentleman, would be laughable if it weren't so sinister. What's the kicker? After Maxwell's meeting with Blanche, she was promptly transferred to a lower security prison. Coincidence? Hardly. This reeks of a coordinated effort to whitewash Trump's connections to Epstein, and Blanche's role as a loyal Trump fixer makes it all the more suspicious. Add to that the FBI's raid on John Bolton's home and office, former Trump advisor turned criticand. You've got a president weaponized in federal agencies to silence dissent and cover his tracks. Trump's cabinet isn't governing. It's running interference for a man desperate to dodge accountability. Hegseth's firing of Cruz fits right into this playbook. When the truth threatens Trump's narrative, eliminate the source and bury the story. Hegseth's actions at the Pentagon go beyond protecting Trump's ego. They're part of a broader, chilling strategy. His push to deploy armed National Guard troops in American cities isn't about public safety. It's about flexing power. On Fox News, he bragged about federalizing law enforcement, with no clear endgame or justification beyond supporting police. Conditions-based, he called it dodging questions about costs or timelines. This isn't leadership. It's a blank check for authoritarianism. Trump's team is occupying cities, demanding IDs, and creating what looks like a secret police force to target political enemies. It's not just a distraction from the Epstein scandal or the Iran strike flow pits, a real, tangible abuse of power. Trump's obsession with projecting strength only highlights his weakness. A confident leader doesn't need to fire generals for telling the truth or deploy troops to intimidate citizens. A competent president doesn't surround himself with yes-men like Hegseth, who stumbles from one scandal to the next. Instead, Trump's administration is a house of cards, propped up by loyalists who prioritize his ego over the country's well-being. Hegseth's latest scoop, firing Cruz to hide the truth about Iran, has humiliated Trump on the world stage, exposing his boasts as hollow and his leadership as a sham. This week's scandals are just the latest chapter in Trump's saga of dysfunction. His cabinet, from Hegseth to Blanche to Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel, isn't there to serve the American people. It's there to serve Trump's personal interests. Whether it's firing truth-tellers, cozying up to convicted criminals, or deploying troops to intimidate, this administration operates like a reality TV show where the only goal is to keep the star happy, but the consequences are real. Hegseth's reckless decisions at the Pentagon undermine national security. The DOJ's Epstein cover-up erodes trust in justice, and the deployment of troops in cities threatens the very democracy Trump claims to protect. Trump's supporters might cheer his tough guy act, but the rest of us see it for what it is: a weak, confused man clinging to power through lies and intimidation. His cabinet's loyalty tests and scandal cover-ups aren't signs of strength, they're admissions of failure. Every time Hegseth opens his mouth or fires a general, he reminds us that Trump's presidency is a hollow shell, propped up by chaos and corruption. The world is watching, and they're not impressed.